So this is something a little bit different than I normally do here on the channel. I'm starting the review of the cigar halfway through. What we have today is a Rocky Patel Diciple. And I have to say, this is one of the nicest presented cigars I've had. Let me show you. So you have the label up here. This whole section is black paper with foil at the bottom. This is a really well presented cigar. I love the rose gold coloring on it. I mean, in terms of product selling you on the way it looks in the package, my friend Rocky Patel got me on that one. Anyways, we're a good way through the second third. I smoked the first third in quiet solitude, I guess we'll say. So Rocky Patel always puts together a really nice cigar, in my opinion. Even their budget cigars are well presented. The quality construction on the budget cigar is not amazing, but you know, it's still well presented. This, of all the Rocky Patel stuff I've had, I do think of all of them, is by far the nicest rolled. The density of the tobacco is great. The flavor profile is pretty diverse. It doesn't blow you up with like the sweet flavors up front. It's more in the bold, bitter, you know, those sort of flavors, like the dark chocolate, you know, black coffee kind of thing. What I think is this is Rocky Patel's answer to the Liga Privada. So if you like Drew Estate Liga Privada and you're thinking of getting into a new brand and you want something similar, Rocky Patel Diciple. I believe this is a slightly better price point, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, the last time I bought a Liga Privada T52, I paid somewhere around $36 for it. I think I paid about $20-25 for these. I could be wrong. I really do think if you like Liga and you like Rocky Patel, this is probably a good cigar for you. I am going to highly recommend this one. I've had the benefit of having some really nice cigars in my time. You know, notably the Davidoff Late Hour, the Winston Churchill tribute cigar, which is its own thing because the tobacco is aged in whiskey barrels, although I'm not sure I could taste the whiskey barrel in that. I don't really know the story of the Diciple. I didn't do a bunch of research. I just saw it and I thought it looked nice and I grabbed a couple. Now, to me, this is going to be a Saturday afternoon smoke. Like I said, we're coming to this video almost halfway through it because I smoked the first third. I went on, I did some chores, I did some cleaning, some organizing. I'm going to go on to doing some barbecuing soon. And I do think this would be an excellent cigar to smoke. If you're standing outside by the Weber, watching that pulled pork take its slow time to cook with some friends on a nice summer day. It is a pretty strong smelling tobacco once it's burnt. The unburnt tobacco smells like, all chocolatey, sweet, malty, pie crusty flavors. I've said for a long time that 92 is my favorite Rocky Patel, and they're a fair bit cheaper than this. And I also said that the Rocky Patel Royal is one of the most balanced cigars I've ever had. This is right there. It's right there. It is easily as balanced as the Royal, but in a bit of a different flavor profile. I do think this is maybe for a little more experienced cigar smoker. The nicotine level isn't too crazy on this. But I am sessioning it in 2 sessions. It lit up really, really easy. When I first started smoking it, I had about 1 inch of an ash on there, and it didn't fall off. I was sweeping leaves off of my balcony, sweeping my living room, getting some meat out of the freezer. I let it sit in my ashtray for, God, had to be 7, 8 minutes, maybe even 15. It came back. Still lit. Crazy. So some of the complexity is like in the retrohale, like retrohale when you exhale through your nose. I am getting a little bit of like basil, oregano-y, like Italian seasoning stuff, which is interesting. Very, very slight menthol. And the chickadees like it. Like I said, I do think the nicotine level is going to be maybe a bit much for a beginning smoker, but if you session it in 2 sessions, you'll be fine. I'm currently pairing it with a beer. I am thinking it might have been better paired with a nice sweet bourbon, but currently at the time, I'm living in a part of Canada where our government decided to pull all bourbon out of the liquor stores because reasons I'm not going to get into because they're socio-political garbage, which is a waste of almost all of our times. Fortunately, I do have 4 bottles of bourbon kicking around. I am thinking, yeah, Knob Creek maybe because it's my sweetest one. So sweet bourbon, sweet Canadian whiskey this could work with. One of my favorite Canadian whiskeys is Wayne Gretzky's 99 Maple Cask. It is very mapley, but this with a mapley, because the Maple Cask is like, it's a cask that had maple syrup in it, and then they aged the whiskey in it. So it's a unique thing. This was something like that, or there's a couple like maple syrup liqueurs. If you mix it in a nice drink, yeah, I think you're winning Irish cream and Irish coffee. Oh. Yeah, this little Jameson and the coffee, heavy cream, pair it with this bad boy, now we're talking. This beer is a bit of a stronger beer. It's got fairly predominant hops, so I don't feel like the hops is marrying the best with the cigar. However, I'm also not going to complain about it because it's a nice beer. It's a nice cigar. Just I could have chose a better pairing. But let's be honest, I don't sit there and think about pairing when I light a cigar and open a beer. I think, well, we have a beautiful early spring afternoon after a dingy week in terms of weather, hard week in terms of work, and this is where we're going. Yeah, so I think they're a bit cheaper than a Liga Privada. The Liga Privada, I think, has a little more character to it, but I mean, it's right in the ballpark. And I'm a sucker for presentation, and this is a well-presented cigar, and it's well put together. One of the things I really like about Rocky Patel, in their $20 and $30 range, the cigars are comparable to $40, $50, $70 cigars from other brands. It is really impressive what Rocky Patel brings to the table for the price. Now, it's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but I have definitely had $75 cigars that couldn't even come close to this one. So, and we all know by now I am a pretty big fan of Rocky Patel cigars. I do think they're one of the better mid-luxury brands out there, but I also like Drew Estate and Gurkha. Don Thomas at like 10 or 12 bucks a cigar, you're not going to beat it. Smoke output is great. Texture of the smoke is great. Feel in the mouth is great. Yeah, this is a good way to put it. You saw the presentation of the cigar. It's a really nicely presented cigar. Absolutely represents what you're getting in the smoked experience. So I like that. Anyways, as I always say, keep it a hobby, not a habit. Take the time, take her easy.